forward. So as we're going, if you guys have questions about anything, related to anything we're talking about, anything related to customer retention, customer service, customer just general care, make sure to put it in the comments and we'll go over them at the end. But I'm super excited just to dive into this topic with you guys, because this is seriously something that I feel like we don't talk about enough, don't learn about enough, and it makes all the difference in the long-term sustainability and health of our businesses. So in my last session with Rachel Hollis, this was literally what the entire session was about, and she went into really big detail about how there's like a bulk of our revenue that will always come from a really small percentage of our customers, but that the mark that so many business owners miss is, always focusing on getting new, which is good, but not taking care of the old. And I definitely think, if we're all honest with ourselves, we can totally relate to that. You sign a customer, you're really excited about it, but then what are you doing next? You're trying to get more customers, which is good, but we don't want to forget about the old. So before I really dive into some of the stuff that she shared, I wanted to talk about this book that she recommended. I would love so much if all of you would put this on your reading list, like your next read, not like to read next year. It's called Hug Your Customers. She recommended it just this last week, and I'm a few chapters into it, you guys, and it's amazing. So many just aha moments. And it's all things that we can immediately implement in our business, which I love. But a couple things that I wrote down just from the first few chapters, and again, I still have like 6 hours left to read of it, so I'm definitely nowhere near done. But just some gold nuggets from the first few chapters was that he talked about, your customers want to be coddled. Like that's just the nature of the game. If they didn't, they'd go order on Amazon. So if they're ordering from you, like they want that relational aspect that only you can offer. And one thing that he said that I thought was so huge was he said, relationship-driven companies, which is what we are, yield higher productivity and they yield higher profitability. And he went on to say that like statistics have shown that when there is a relationship between the salesperson and the customer feels a loyalty and they order higher volume and they order for longer periods of time. And anytime you have a situation where a customer is a customer for life, it is always because of the relationship. And then he kind of just dug into like why his title of the book is called Hug Your Customers. He talked about how hugging your customers means like going above and beyond. It means you have a company-wide passion and you have long-term loyal relationships with your customers. And he actually was talking about how there's actually a type of marketing today called relationship marketing. And if you think about it, that's very much, I feel like how a lot of us market ourselves, and how we should all be seeking to improve to market ourselves. And that's marketing that relational aspect. We think of it like this. We market ourselves like this with the business, how you'll be a part of one big family. We'll be there to mentor you and to guide you and to lead you to success. We market ourselves like that with the business very much. And we should, if we're not already, be marketing ourselves like that with our customers too, because that's what people want. Especially in this day and age with technology, people want that connection, and we can offer that to them. He talked about how one of the biggest mistakes that business owners make is they are reactive instead of proactive. He said reactive waits for people to come to them. They wait until the customer needs something. They wait until, the customer seeks them out. But proactive, checks on the customer. Proactive is very much there for the customer before the customer even knows that they need you to be there for them. And he talked about how when you're proactive, like you know what your customer wants more than they know. And I really wanted to talk about this for a second because you guys know that, I'm a huge proponent of, owning your own business and being assertive and knowing that you're the expert. Any of you guys, if y'all, come to me in any of the chats about, an objection, like one thing that I, talk about a lot is like, you're the professional in this conversation, like you're the expert. And so owning, your own business and being very assertive with how you answer questions and how you just communicate with your customers. Well, that's one of the things that he was talking about is, you have to know that you are the expert. You know what your customer wants before they even know what they want, which means when they come to you and they have their health goals, you immediately know what they want, even if they only maybe sought you out for a 2-day cleanse. Like by listening to them, you're like, you don't just need a 2-day cleanse. You need this, this, and this. This is going to set you up for success. And you immediately like don't shy away from giving the customer, exactly what's going to be right for them and what's going to be best for them and set them up for success. So that's kind of all that I wrote down from the book, but I wanted to tie that in to one of the things that Rachel said that I thought was just so phenomenal. She said that being nervous is a very selfish emotion. And she said, when we're nervous, it makes it all about us instead of makes it about the other person. And so she was like, if you're nervous to upsell your customer, you're nervous to suggest something else to your customer. She's like, that's very selfish because you're making it all about you instead of them. If you truly feel like their best interest is what matters and it's all about them, then you won't even be nervous because you know that whatever you're going to recommend is going to be better for them. And I just thought that was phenomenal. And like, it totally has changed my conversations that I've been having with people since that coaching session, because it's like, anytime I would be worried that I'm sounding pushy, I'm like, no, like this is going to help them. There's nothing to be nervous about. And that's the thing, you guys, people can sense when you're being genuine. So if you're genuinely voice messaging them and you're like, okay, I'm going to get your order in for, the TFX and the fat fighters. I just wanted to suggest though, most of my customers like adding greens onto this combo. They amplify the results of these two. And I think you're just going to absolutely love having those in too. They detoxify your body, boost your immune system. You're going to feel great. Did you want to go ahead and add those on too before I get this order in? Like, it's as simple as that. And they can sense that you know what you're talking about, number one, and that you genuinely care. And whenever those things are on the table, we don't have to worry about anything else sounding weird or pushy or anything like that. Okay, so kind of diving into some of the things I wrote down from her session. She said, one thing that I thought was huge, she said, every time your business hits a new level, your customer service will take a hit. And she was like, it's the name of the game. There's no avoiding it. She's like, it happens to even the best companies out there and the best teams out there. And I thought this was so huge, you guys, because I can totally relate in my own business. Every time, our team, has exponential growth in 1 month and we welcome new business partners. There's that learning curve, learning curve of taking care of a bigger team, learning curve of making sure we're suiting everyone's needs in that stage. And for my customers especially, there was a couple months I've always, my whole business been super on top of thank you cards. And there was a couple months where I just totally dropped the ball and I was not getting them out as timely as usual. And that was when I kind of had to figure out, okay, what can I do differently? And that's when I started enlisting Savannah to help. And you guys know that Savannah writes thank you cards now. And that's, just been so golden. I pay her $25 a month. It goes in her savings account. She's super excited about that. And my customers get that nice touch of, very well seeing that this is a family business and my fourth grader helps write their thank you cards. And so obviously I know not everybody has a 9-year-old to enlist, but that's just an example of, when we take our business to a new level, there will be challenges, but we just have to figure out how we can adapt and what we can do differently to get back on track where we need to be. And that's one of the things she was talking about. It's just like, as you start growing, get on top of it and start getting ahead of those things. Okay, so one thing that she had said, and I wanted all you guys to kind of just like think about this in your own head, is she said, like, define what your ideal customer service experience is. And she was like, name 3 companies or service providers that you do business with that you think have amazing customer service. And so like for me, like 2 of my companies I wrote down were Amazon and Nordstrom's. If you've shopped at Nordstrom, you know that they have incredible customer service. They go above and beyond. They treat you like royalty when you walk in the store, even if you can't buy anything. And they will take returns at any point. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like years later, they'll always take returns. And then I love Amazon because, well, who doesn't like, 2-day free shipping? And then also one thing I love about Amazon is if anything I've ever ordered from them, if something breaks, like even a month after I bought it, I can email them and they will immediately refund me or send me a replacement. And it doesn't matter if it was like necessarily like fault of Amazon. If like the product just like broke what I perceived to be sooner, I can email them and they'll immediately replace it. And that's very rare. Bryce said in the chat, Chick-fil-A. Yes, Chick-fil-A, like they literally act like they're so happy to see you. You would never know anyone's having a bad day. That's an excellent example. So then she said, what characteristics to these companies, like what characteristics do all the 3 companies you wrote down have in common? Is it the way they interact in person? Is it the way they communicate? List as many positive attributes as you can think of. And then the whole point of this exercise was to then figure out like, okay, what can I take from them? Like, what can I implement into my business? Because if those things make me feel good, there's a good chance they're going to make my customers feel good. So obviously some things are not in our control, like our company's return policy and stuff like that. But what is in our control is being very solution minded. So like 2 things that I wrote down about, she said, based on the characteristics you admire, what are the foundations of your customer relationships going to be? And I wrote down that I'll always listen to my customers' needs and make sure they feel heard. And then secondly, make everything right in any way I can. Always offer solutions. And so that was just two things I wanted to share with you guys. You might have, you might think of different things, but I think those are two things that all of us can easily do. We can always make someone feel important, make someone feel heard, make someone feel as though we care about how they feel. And then we can always make something right. And so what I wanted to kind of expound upon in this area is, like, let's say a customer does come to you with a complaint. Let's say they come to you and they're just, they forgot to change their auto shipment. It was on them. They got the email, they forgot, but they're upset with you. Immediately remember that kindness turns away wrath. Remember that whenever you respond softly, you're going to bring them down from a level 10 down to a level 1. Remember that even if it's not your fault, you can just approach them so humbly and calmly that they immediately, like, the whole conversation turns around. So I wanted to give you guys an example, and I wasn't even planning to talk about this because it literally just happened a couple hours ago. But I had a customer from Instagram who last month ordered a pretty big order. It was like 120 BB. And she had messaged me after she got the order in, beginning of this month. She ordered at the end of last month. And she asked me, she had to try the same things this month, or if she could switch it up. And I had said, you can switch it up to anything that you want. Just let me know and I can change it. And then I had asked her if she had tried them, and she had only tried them, like, I think once or twice, but she liked them. She's like, but I might want to switch it up. Did never hear from her. And to my own fault, I didn't check back in again. Well, she messaged me today and she didn't even know the order had gotten processed on the 25th, but she said, hey, Brittany, she said, did you send me the same thing again? She was like, I think I maybe saw that I'm getting the same thing, but I'm not really sure. I've been so busy. And I just responded back via voice message. And guys, this is my #1 tip. If there's ever a little bit of a hiccup in the road, even though they don't seem like raging mad or anything, if you can tell, like, it's just a little bit not the complete positive poly conversation, always voice message. Because if they hear your voice, it's going to immediately keep the conversation down here where you want it to be, instead of it possibly going up here and escalating. So I just voice message and I just said, hey girl, yeah, I said it actually just went out on the 25th. It's probably shipped. Let me check on that right now for you. And I was like checking eSuite while I was on the phone voice messaging. And I said, were you wanting to change that to something else? And then I was like, oh, yep, it looks like it just shipped. Just let me know. I can help you with whatever you need, we'll figure it out. And she responded back immediately and was like, yeah, I was wanting to change it. But you know what? That's okay. Can you just also send me some wraps? And I was like, yes. And you guys know, like, running for ambassador, I'm like, that was like totally not what I was expecting. But I was like, what a blessing that she actually ended up wanting to add on her order. But if you guys would have read her first message, it definitely seemed slightly perturbed. But it's just amazing. I'm not saying it always is going to go this way, but just responding in a voice message and letting them know you've got their back and you'll fix it whatever way you can. That goes so far. And so just anytime you have that opportunity to voice message, anytime you have that opportunity to just calm them down and let them know that you care and you'll fix it in whatever way, is in your power, do that. And what's interesting about that, you guys, is I didn't even say anything specific I was going to do. I just said, let me know if you're wanting to change it. I'll help you figure it out whatever way I need to. And that just gave her that reassurance that, I was there for her and I cared about her. So the next thing that Rachel talked about that I thought was just absolute golden. This is something that all of us, if you've been in the business for any amount of time, you can relate to what I'm about to say. She called it the stick rate. She said the stick rate is how many of your customers that order from you one time actually stick, actually keep ordering and become, a long-term customer. And she said the #1 reason people don't stick, quote unquote stick, is that they buy the product and then they don't actually use it. And so this is where, checking in and making sure that, we're walking them through how to use their products and things like that are so huge. So I wanted to share with you share a tip with you guys that has been working really well for me, even being fast paced and a lot going on. This is something that's really easy to do no matter what your lifestyle is like, no matter what your dynamic with your customers is like. So whenever I get my customers' orders in, I send them their login information, and then I send them a message that says, okay, great, your order is in. You should get it in about a week. Here is your login information. My website is, and I give them my website, and then I say, message me whenever you get your products, and I will walk you through how to use everything. I'm so excited for you. So here's the thing. I could definitely walk them through how to use everything right then and there, but then I wouldn't know what day they actually got their product. So by not doing that right then and there and saying, message me when you get your order and I'll walk you through how to do everything, that puts it back on them to contact me when they get their order. And then when I get that message, I can immediately walk them through, and then now they're fresh on my mind again. So now when I walk them through on Tuesday, when they message me, they're right there in my inbox. I can check in on Wednesday, on Thursday, whenever, and say like, hey, how'd you like everything? How was your first couple of days of using it? And so that's just an idea that I wanted to pass along to you guys, because I've definitely experienced this in my business, and I'm sure so many of you have as well, where, you know, someone maybe wants to turn their auto shipment off at 3 months, and when you start asking questions, you realize it's not because they didn't like it, they didn't like what they got. It's not even because they can't afford it. It's because they're stocked up on product because they didn't use it. And that was one of the things that she hit on really hard, was she said this happens all the time, especially with women, because women love a good deal. You know, they'll go in and buy, you know, tons of stuff from Bath and Body Works because it's on sale, but then it's, you know, sits in their closet and they don't actually use it. And so if you want your customer to be a long-term customer, you've got to make sure they're using their product. So just anything, and just while I'm talking, just write down, you know, any ideas that you think can kind of ensure that you can stay on top of that with your customers. Maybe it's just having, you know, some of your best customers on See First on Facebook. So you're always, you know, liking and commenting, and then they're fresh on your mind, and you think to check in more. Maybe it's, you know, writing them in a planner on a rigid schedule. I know different things work for different people, but just find what's going to work for you to stay in close contact, to make sure that, you know, they are using things and, you know, having those results they want, which is going to ensure they keep ordering from you. One thing that she talked about is, okay, so she said CRM, it stands for Customer Relationship Management. And she said it's a, you know, common term in the digital world, you know, companies like ours, but it basically just means, you know, what kinds of things that you have implemented in place that, you know, just solidifies that strong relationship with your customers. And so I would love if you guys would brainstorm, and even after the Zoom, you know, if you guys have ideas, you know, we can, you can comment on the thread that the Zoom was posted on in Fire Tribe, just things that we can easily duplicate team-wide to just have those strong relationships with our customers. Because, you know, I think that this is one of those things that the more ideas we can flood in, the better. But I would love to just see our team as a whole just have just a strong presence with our customers, a strong customer service base, and just, you know, really go above and beyond keeping our customers long-term. Because here's the thing, we work so hard to get those customers. We don't want them to just turn their auto shipment off in 3 months and then just constantly be working hard to get more. We want to make sure that we're really taking care of the ones that we have. She said, what makes a business grow? And she had like all of us in the group, you know, write down things that we thought. And I wrote down customers, and that was just what I thought was the easy answer. And that was kind of one of the things, but it wasn't the whole answer at all. Her answer for what makes a business grow is consistently adding more value than anyone else in the market. And she said, here's the thing. There's a lot of companies out there that do the same thing that you do, no matter what industry you're in. And she said, so how is your business going to consistently grow? It's that you're the most valuable person. You have more value to offer than all your competitors. And I think that that is something, you guys, that our team, especially, it is our strength, because I've convinced, like I've said it a million times the past week, the best team in the company. And I know that we have just huge hearts on this team. And that was one of the things that she was saying, is if you are consistently adding more value than anyone else, then it's going to be a no-brainer. Like, your customers are going to stay with you because they're going to feel a certain way with you that they don't feel anywhere else. And that kind of goes back to what, you know, the little thing that I read you guys from the Hug Your Customers book. You know, when your customers feel like they're a part of your family, when your customers walk in, and he talked about like hugs or like virtual hugs. He said, you know, yes, his company does hug their customers, but he said what they actually mean by hugging your customers is like how the customer feels when they walk into your presence. Anyways, so the next thing that I wrote down was, she had said, like, you have like knowing really clearly like the life cycle of your customer, and like, so AKA when your customer will buy again. And so for us, this is pretty easy because our customers do order, you know, every month for at least 3 months. But then going past that, this is what I took away from that, knowing that they're so in love with select things they ordered in that 3 months, if not all of them, that you know they're going to keep ordering. And just doing those basic things like sending thank you cards, you know, checking in at that 3 month mark about their perk points they're getting at 6 months, and just making sure that, you know, they see the value of staying with you. One thing I thought was really interesting is, you guys, I'm sure, have heard, especially those of you that have been on the team a while, you've heard the statistic that that they say people have to see things 7 to 9 times before they feel compelled to act on it. I'm sure you guys have heard that on trainings and stuff, which is just, you know, further strengthening that advice that we have to be so consistent with what we post about. Well, she said that actually studies are now showing, like the new research, that it's actually on social media, it's about 19 times people have to see stuff. The 7 to 9 times statistic was actually back when people, it was basing off commercials. So research showed that when people saw commercials on TV, they had to see them 7 to 9 times before they'd actually go to the store and buy that thing that was advertised. But with social media, because we're so overstimulated and we see so much stuff on our newsfeed all the time, research is showing we need to see things 19 times on average. And so what I really wanted to hit on about this was, especially for all of you guys who are new, maybe you're brand new and you're like, I've been posting and I'm not getting anything. You know, I've been posting and I've only signed 3 customers. You have to know that so many people are watching your posts, but they're not just going to necessarily feel compelled to message you the first time they see your post, because that's just, simply put, not how our human brain works. The way our brain works is we have to see things a lot of times, apparently 19 times. And so while some people will definitely reach out sooner than that, the average is 19 times. And so I wanted to, you know, just share that statistic just to encourage you to just keep being consistent, because the name of the game and the people who win in this business are the people who are consistent. They're the people that know that their feelings don't always equal facts. They're the people who know that, you know, they have to be consistent and they have to keep that long-term mindset, you know, in place, long-term sacrifice over short-term gain. Long-term gain over short-term sacrifice. And then also know that, you know, people are always watching. One thing too, Zach and I were talking about this the other day. So the Facebook algorithm, I don't know if you guys know this, but it on average only shows your post to 20% of your friends list or less. It actually sometimes only shows to about 12% of your friends list. And so what that means is you never know when you post who's going to see your post. It might be literally just the select handful of people, but then the next time it might be these people. And so that's even more reason, and she was talking about this too in our session, of why we want to be so consistent, because different people will see our posts each time. And so that being said, like if you're only ever posting about coffee and greens twice a week, well, you're missing a whole bunch of your Facebook friends list. But if you're posting about it daily, then you're a lot more likely to hit, you know, a lot more of your friends list. Anyways, going back to customers though, I know I got off on a little bit of a rabbit trail there, but she was talking about how it's so important to not just give what we think is valuable, but give what is valuable to our customers. She talked about how a lot of times, you know, companies will do like, you know, free gifts or incentives or this or that. But she was like, really break it down and ask yourself, what does my customer want? Like, what is valuable to my customer? I want to give a shout out to Leah. I see her on here. She and her team have been doing a thing for the past couple of days where they're giving all their customers that order coffee and greens, they're giving them a free frother just to get that month in volume. And I think Amanda Stein actually shared this tip in Fire Tribe. You can buy a 4-pack of these frothers for like $11. So is that something you need to do all the time? I mean, no, definitely not. But when you're pushing for that month in volume, it really helps. And that is a perfect example of a gift that a customer would want, you know, because they're buying coffee and greens, and that's a frother that they can use with it. So just get creative and think of stuff like that when you are wanting to step outside the box. But I thought that was just so good. You know, give what's valuable to them. One thing that I do sometimes is I'll message my customers and see if they want to host a post for me, which this isn't as valuable now that we have the giveaways, because the giveaways are so much more huge. But back before we did those team-wide giveaways, I would just ask my customers if they would host a post for me, and I would say, in exchange, I will give you samples of any product that you haven't yet tried. And here's the thing, I've got pretty much everything at my house. And so whatever they ask for, I knew I could give them. But that really made it fun for them, because if they had been really wanting to try collagen, you know, I had that on hand. I could be like, yeah, I'll send you a couple of those in the mail. So just think of, you know, little things like that. Tanya, so you said, so you can post about different products in one day. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think on an ideal day, posting about products 2 or 3 times is perfect, and just kind of incorporating it into your lifestyle posts. And not all of them even have to be like before and afters. You know, sometimes you might be posting a before and after of coffee and greens. Other times you might be doing, like Monique is really good at this. She posts her hair, skin, and nail results all the time, whether it's her nails or her hair. And so sometimes it can be something of you personally. Sometimes it might just be a picture of your coffee and talking about how you love it and how it makes you feel. I honestly have a really good a lot of good feedback from that, just really getting really real with people in my coffee post about how much energy it gives me as a mom of 5, and just how much of a difference I've noticed just in my mood and my energy levels. And so just anything like that works with any product, but you can definitely get 3 products in a day in very unique ways, not just having to be like all before and afters. Another thing that I wrote down that I thought was just really good was she talked about like when you do inevitably have confrontation with customers. And I just wanted to talk about this because you guys know I'm huge on overcoming objections, not letting objections get the best of you and get you down. But she talked about how, if you're in business for any length of time, like it's only a matter of time before you do have to come across it, but how you handle it is everything. She said the second you start defending yourself to people, you give them permission to attack you back. So apologize, make it right, and move on. And I thought that was just so huge advice. And she gave an example about, when, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her Start Today journals, but they're like affirmation journals that she sells. And she said they came out with like some limited edition ones around the holidays. And they only thought they were going to sell about 1,000. And because at that point, their company hadn't really exploded. And so she just wasn't expecting to sell a whole lot of them. And so they had limited inventory. I want you guys to think about Thermifite X for a second with me with this example. And she said they, literally marketed throughout the marketing on a Friday, left the office, came back on Monday. And she said with literally, at this point, they were still using like a Gmail account. They didn't even have like a company official email. Came back with, I think she said like 60,000 emails in the Gmail. Literally sold more than they could possibly even get made in that amount of time. And so they were, freaking out. Obviously it's exciting, but at the same time, they're like, what are we going to do? And so they immediately started, getting with suppliers, trying to see how quickly they could get things made. They were, refunding shipping and stuff like that. But she said there was people that were just, so upset. We're just tearing them apart on social media, even after they had sent emails and let them know and stuff like that. And one thing that she shared that I thought was so golden, and I can definitely relate to this with stuff with like Thermifite X and stuff in our business, is she said the people who get the most upset about a product they bought in a situation like that are the people who couldn't afford it to begin with. And so if you look at it like that, you have to know that it's not about you. If someone's tearing you apart, it's really easy to take it really personal. But when you get to the root of it, you know that it's a way deeper issue than they're just mad that the order's taking too long. It's a lot easier to not take it personally and to just apologize and make it right. She talked about how her husband literally was like, had gotten on her social media business page and was like, if you cannot wait until January, whatever, to get your journal, we'll make it right for you. Send me an email with your email and I'll refund you the money. And they were literally personally with their personal PayPal refunding people that were that mad just to make it right, because it wasn't worth like the confrontation. And so I just wanted to share that example. Obviously that's extreme. You guys aren't going to be in a situation where you're having to like PayPal people money, but I just thought it was a really good example of like, that was something that was beyond their control. They could not help that they got way more orders than they expected. And that, it was Christmas time, they couldn't get them sent out that fast. But what they did was just made the best of it, made it right. They had people that wrote it out with them and were happy. They had the people that were upset because money was already tight. But look at them, they're a successful, thriving company that so many people look up to. And so I just thought that one piece of advice, I'm gonna say it again in case you didn't write it down: apologize, make it right, and move on. I just thought that was golden. And so I think so often it's easy to try to defend ourselves, but I just loved how she said, like, the second you start defending yourself, you're just giving them permission to attack you back. So when in doubt, when you do have an angry customer, just humble yourself and just kill them with kindness, because that's the quickest way to move on and just continue thriving in your business. So wrapping this up, I know I'm coming up on time. She said, how are you encouraging your customers, your followers, and just your network in general? She said, number 1, give more than you promise. Number 2, run your business in an open and honest way. She said, like, being vulnerable is the best thing you can do right now in 2019, because that's what people want. And so especially with us marketing ourselves on social media, I encourage you, if you're on a weight loss journey, like, share your journey with people. If you're, if you used to struggle with anxiety, talk about, how Confluence is helping you, talk about how much just being a part, from the business standpoint, how much being a part of this business of encouraging life-giving people has changed your life. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because that's what people want. And when people, see that you run your business in such an open and honest way, like, that draws people into you. She said, always reward your best customers. And so these are those people that never turn their auto shipment off. These are those people that have been ordering with you since you started. I have several of those, you guys, that literally they signed my first couple months in the business, and I've been in over 2.5 years, never turned their auto shipments off. So those are the people that I took away from that advice. Do something extra for them. Send them a card in the mail one day that they're not expecting, with a $5 Starbucks gift card, $10 Starbucks gift card, just something saying thank you for sticking with me this long. And it doesn't have to be that. I'm just throwing out some examples. She said, give them a reason to refer people to you. So I wanted to hit on this for a second. She said, don't be afraid to go ask for the referral, because people who are loyal to you and already have a good relationship with you will gladly refer people to you. She's like, give them a reason to refer people to you, and it's a done deal. And so one thing I wanted to share with you guys is, messaging your customers, if you haven't already, here at month end, and just say like, hey, I wanted to, check and see how much you were loving the coffee and greens. I don't know if you know anyone that would love them, but if you refer anyone to me today, I'll send you some samples of something that you haven't yet tried, or I'll send you a free wrap or whatever. But whenever you give that little incentive, they already love you. They already love the products. They're already loyal to you. I mean, it's a no-brainer to refer people to you. And I just loved that reminder from her. And then the last tip that she gave was listen to your customer and work to constantly improve. And so what I personally took away from this, and some of you may take different things away, but I just wanted to share what I took away is, if a customer does get feedback and maybe it's not something you're expecting, maybe it's something that you did drop the ball on and it's kind of hard to hear, like just listen to it and take it in, and always be willing to grow, always be willing to get better and better. Because guys, anytime someone gives constructive criticism, if we just take it and get better, like that only helps us. And so I'm a big proponent of like just knowing the intention behind something someone says. And if I know that, they didn't mean any harm by it, I'm going to take it. I'm going to see what I can learn from it and grow. And I just loved that reminder from her about doing that with our customers too, because your customers will give you some of the best feedback, and sometimes it won't even be direct. Maybe it's something as simple as like, they message you and they're like, oh, I didn't know that I had an auto shipment. Okay, good to know. Well, you can take that. They weren't mad or anything, but you can take that and be like, how can I communicate more clearly with my, future customers going forward, or, whatever. But anyways, wrapping this up, I just kind of wanted to give everybody a couple last tips before we hopped off. If you have not yet checked in with your old customers, let this just be some fuel for you, some reminders. Your old customers, you guys, so many of them are literally just waiting on you to check in with them and provide them that customer care to start ordering. So many people that maybe turn their auto shipment off, maybe they were one of those people that we talked about, the stick rate, never actually used the product, and that's why they stopped ordering. Maybe they had to turn it off for the holidays because money was tight, but they would turn it back on if you messaged them. So I encourage you, if you haven't yet checked in with your old customers, check in with them. Even people who, are on a regular auto shipment with you, maybe just check in and see if there's anything new they would want to try. One thing I've been doing with those customers, so again, these are people that are still ordering regularly. I've just been checking in and sending a voice message and just saying, hey girl, I hope that you're loving your coffee and greens. I just wanted to check in with you and see if there was anything else that had caught your eye that maybe you would want to add on. I would love to give you some personal recommendations and get some more product in your hands. I know that you're going to be obsessed with so many of our other things too. I can't wait for you to try it. Super nonchalant, but I've had so many people that have been responding back and they're like, yeah, actually, I've been curious about that collagen you posted about. So again, just don't be afraid to open that door, because if our products will help them, sometimes that's all they need is that reminder from you. So anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. I know it's month end and everybody, is just crushing it and it's just out there just working so hard. But if there's anything that I can say, it's just leave no stone unturned these last couple days. You just never know what a small reach out will do and what it'll yield. I was just sharing with a couple people right before the Zoom. I was messaging about 5 people when I was walking back home. I just gotten off a phone call and I just literally went through and just messaged 5 old customers that are still ordering, but have been ordering for a couple of years, and we don't talk super regularly. I check in on them, but I mean, they're pretty self-sufficient. And I just sent them a message and I just said, hey girl, I hope you're doing amazing. I know it's been a little while since we talked. I just wanted to let you know my family is up for a huge promotion this month, and so are so many families on my team, and we're literally just a matter of orders away. And I just wanted to ask, was there anything you were running low on that you would want to stock up on or place an order for? It would just mean the world to us. And guys, literally, I sent 5 of the messages, and immediately I walk in my house and one person immediately messaged me back and said, heck yes, I'd love to help you out. Put me an order in for 2 bags of collagen and some of the face wash. And that was 88 BV that literally came from, I mean, we're talking 5 minutes of work. So that's just a prime example of what Rachel was saying, that it will always be a set group of your customers that give you the most revenue, but you got to reach out, you got to take care of them, you got to check in on them. And sometimes you just simply have to ask, because they love you, they're loyal to you, they're just waiting on you to check in. So okay, I see one question. If anyone has any questions, you can throw them in there real quick. I'm going to answer Shannon's before we hop off. Shannon said, how much attention do you give your customers? I have one who wants me to give him a personal call every month to check on him and take his order for the next month. So I definitely have a few customers like that. They're usually typically my older customers, and they just would rather do it over the phone. That's just their style, instead of texting or voice messaging. And I'm just really big on just giving the customer, you know, what they want when it comes to stuff like that, and meeting them where they're at. Because, you know, some people, they're okay texting, they're okay voice messaging, they're okay just sending me that quick message like, hey Brittany, can you change my auto shipment to collagen? Yeah, absolutely. I hope you're doing amazing. And that's all they need from me. And so if you think about it, that's, you know, kind of nice for me that that's all they need from me. So I look at it when I have a customer that needs a little bit more, it all shakes out in the wash, because some of them need more, some of them need less. So my best advice is just, if you know that's what that customer wants from you, you know, give them that level of service, because it's only just going to reaffirm their loyalty to you, and it's only just going to make them feel more taken care of, which is good for them, and it's good for you, and it's good for your business in the long run. So I don't see any other questions. If anybody has any last minute ones, put them in the chat. But otherwise we're going to hop off, because I know everybody's crushing it. I'm going to wait just about 10 seconds to see if anyone has a question. I will get this recording posted, you guys, tonight, and get that uploaded in the team page, so if you had anybody that missed it. But I'm so proud of you guys. You guys are literally doing so amazing. I can't even wait to celebrate with you guys tomorrow night. If anybody needs anything at all, just let me know. But yeah, my best advice is, if you feel like you're, you know, spinning your wheels trying to get new customers, just take a break and go back to all your old customers, because sometimes that will just be, I mean, exactly what you need. One thing I wanted to share, I don't think I shared this at the beginning, but this month has been kind of like a weird month for me with customers. Normally I sign about 30 customers a month, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but usually around 30. And this month I've only signed 13. And I was feeling really like, what in the world? I normally have so many people reaching out. But literally, you guys, this month, just me personally, I've brought in several thousand from my old customers, several thousand in volume. In just the last 36 hours, I've brought in a little over 2,000. But the whole month, it's been more than that. And so I wanted to give you guys that reminder, like, it's really easy to get hard on yourself because you feel like you're not where you could be in one area, but look at the bigger picture. And if you feel like you're frustrated with like not getting new potentials, go back to the old and take care of the old, because then you're going to feel really good when all the old customers, you know, yield that fruit and yield that volume. And it just kind of helps you put it back in perspective. And I think for me personally, God was giving me that reminder, you know, take care of what I've already given you, because, you know, there's definitely attention that needs to be given to them before I throw more at you. And so I just wanted to give everybody that reminder, because I know I've heard from a lot of you guys in the chats, like, oh, I feel like I have all these hosts to post and I'm not getting anybody yet. And sometimes we can definitely feel like that. But I think the quickest way to get us back on track is to kind of just give us a little break in routine for a little bit, like checking on the old people, and then also just praying, breathing out the anxiety, breathing in that peace, and then just refreshing your mind and getting back to work. So I love you guys so much. I'm going to hop off. I apologize for a little bit over time, but I will see you guys later. If you guys need anything, let me know.